I think because I had twins in my 50s, I didn't realize how sort of extraordinary that is. And I was like, wow, I thought, I'm sort of curious. I've been following biohackers a bit, and I recently went on a biohacking retreat. It was all about upgrading your coffee and saying, well, gosh, they were teaching us about mushrooms and different things. And I was saying, well, I've been taking that for 20 years. I've been taking that for 15 years. I've been taking that for... So there was no term for it that I knew of. But I've been doing that most of my life anyway to improve the quality and quantity of my eggs and,
of course,
and prolong my fertility journey.
Yeah, of course.
Shh, don't tell Mum.
Hello and welcome to Don't Tell Mum.
My name's Barney.
And I'm Jamie.
And this is the most listened to parenting podcast in
Indonesia, baby.
That's right. What do we do to make the Indonesian population love us in the parenting world?
I think social media ads. Paid adverts, guys.
AdSense. It works, guys.
Try it one time. But if you put Indonesia, it will become number one because they love YouTube over there.
Now, Jamie,
this is YouTube.
Now, Jamie, the guests are kind of pouring in nowadays on our podcast, which I'm absolutely loving because we have another guest on our pod today.
When we started, we were like, we'll do a guest every 5 episodes because we really struggled at the time to get, and now we're getting authors, people that write books. And then today we have somebody really, really important.
We do indeed.
Is a subject I've actually just learnt about because I didn't know about it. Barney knew about it
like
more,
12 seconds ago, just
No,
learnt about.
I listened to an episode about it online.
Okay.
And then normally when this happens and I hear about a subject, the universe then presents it in different forms. So this is exactly what's happened. And funnily enough, I got a phone call from this beautiful woman who was talking about releasing something very special, and I'm not going to say any words right now. And I always do this, don't I?
You're
always
just like teasing, you're dragging it out.
There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, and listeners and watchers of the Don't Tell Mum podcast, please welcome to the podcast a longevity expert, biohacker, musician, model, and of course, mum to 5 kids. It's Laura Comfort.
Hey, woo, Laura Comfort. Hello, my darling.
Hello.
That was a nice introduction.
No
Thank you very much.
problem. Welcome to the podcast. Absolutely great to have you here.
Thank you.
And you know, this is your first podcast, isn't it?
Yes, it is my very first.
How are you feeling?
Yeah.
Are you feeling
I'm feeling
nervous?
great.
Are you feeling okay?
I'm very excited.
Good.
Good. We're really excited to delve into it because you have been on your journey is incredible. You went to Harvard, which is a big deal. You are from originally America, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to go way back. Where do you want to begin on this story?
Oh, gosh. Grew up in New York, New England, studied at Harvard, had my thesis was published after that, and I worked at CNBC for a while after that. I was a financial journalist for a little while, and always into music as well. So my music life started in America, and then I carried that through in England when I moved here many moons ago. Had my first child here, and then I never left. So,
do you think
I never stopped?
Yeah,
having the kids.
Because we're always questioning, and we get a lot of American listeners on here, but we sometimes think because Barney's brother lives in New York as well, funnily enough, and we were thinking, maybe that's an option. But what's scaring us at the moment is the tuition over there and like everything that's happening.
I mean, what's scaring us is gun crime, healthcare, homeless situation. America's not in a great state right now, is it really?
No, it isn't. Did you ever have that fear when you decided that you wanted kids? Was it a discussion between you and your partner to where should we have these kids?
Well, I do think America's changed a bit, and New York has changed a bit, and they have to sort of sort out their issues. And I think I would love a new generational president at some point. And yes, you have the immigration issue, especially in New York, the gun control issue. Everybody's got an opinion.
Yeah.
And for now, I'm very happy in London.
Yeah.
In London.
I really want to touch on, the Harvard element. I don't want to drag it out. But one thing I would love to know is, is it like the movies? The only thing that we really know about it in the UK, and our only comparative here, is essentially we have red brick universities, which are the universities in the UK that are, considered the most well-established. And obviously of those, the two that are most are Cambridge and Oxford.
Yeah.
So in the States, you have, Harvard and Yale, and then there's loads of other kind of
Yale
Ivy
is
League,
actually
right?
architecturally designed after Cambridge. They're
really?
similar.
So when you're at Harvard, is it just, this whirlwind of brilliant people, these geniuses, or would you say it's kind of like a normal experience?
I will say it's quite an inspiring place because you might leave your classroom and turn on the news and your professor's on the news. You know what I mean?
Cool.
Because you
Okay.
have renowned professors from all over the world, and the level's quite inspiring.
They're like the leading experts in their field, basically, and then they're professors at Harvard.
Yes,
Wow.
yes, and it's so it was. I had a fantastic time. Absolutely loved it, and at the end I had a band as well and ran track and managed to sort of do it all. But it was a great place to study.
It's very interesting going somewhere like Harvard and then graduating. And then going into the world of music.
She was a journalist as well.
Yeah, you did financial journalism and you joined CNBC, right? You said.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, isn't it, when you think of someone that goes to Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, Yale, somewhere like that, you would always think they would go into a kind of a business of let's say law or
Doctor.
or is it, you kind of foresee them as the intelligent ones lead the country.
When I moved to London, I thought, oh, well, I've got to get a master's in something. So I went to the London School of Economics and studied world politics.
Wow.
But then I had my first child, and so I didn't, complete the master's. But you have, great. I think after that, I started writing more music myself. So one thing led to another. But I think it's useful. Whatever, if you have any, I think they should teach finance more at a younger age.
Yes, agreed. Yeah.
Because you never regret that information will help you. Because nowadays, too, even as an artist, there's no sort of deal where, 360 deal where they used to do everything for you. Nowadays, you have to sort of have your business cap as well and be your own promoter and your own marketer and your own producer and your own everything.
Yes.
Anyway, so it still came in handy later in life.
We even go into acting school or performing arts college, Jamie did that. But you come out of these kind of education areas. You come out of college, you come out of school, you come out of university, especially if you're doing something performative like theatre or dance or something, and you go and you don't know how to do your taxes.
Yeah.
No one does.
Yeah.
And they expect you to just know.
But they're always changing the rules as well. Like when COVID happened, it was like, what do we do now? And I would be calling my accountant going, what does this mean? They'd be like, I don't know. We need to look it up because it changes all the
And they're
time.
still constantly changing the rules.
Yeah.
Always
They're
change the
trying to
rules.
catch us out at every
Everyone's
corner.
trying to outrun the
So they're probably
outrun
like,
the
there's no
tax
point
man.
teaching this at school because it's going to change the minute they graduate. So what's the point of teaching? But I'm like the basics they need to teach. But you look at your background and then you go, wow, you are very intelligent. What you have done in the past is incredible. And the fact that you did music as well. I'm in music. It's tough. It is a tough industry.
Yeah.
It's the toughest, one of the toughest industries to be in. You have to have a lot of volcanicity.
Volcanicity is your word now.
That is my
It
word.
is.
That is not a word, by the way.
I called her
I
out on
created
it
that.
the other day. She said it, and I said, "I'm not sure that's a word, Jamie." And she was like, "Well, it's my word now."
I think
So
you have to have a lot of passion, a lot of conviction,
conviction.
and
Conviction,
There you
that's what I'm trying to say.
yeah, and determination, and hopefully you meet the right people along the way who put you in the right position. And I had a great time. I've been on. I opened for Steven Tyler at a festival in
very
America.
cool.
I've done loads of big charity gigs. I did, I guess, Silverstone Motor Grand Prix.
Yeah, cool.
When Adam Ant was around.
Adamant, yeah.
And, so I've had a good time. I've had a few tracks, sort of top 30, couple top 10s, in the sort of club world.
Yeah.
But acoustic pop sort of bass, and it's been fun. I mean, because I have always had children,
Yeah.
I can't sort of travel, and I think when you're touring is where you can make the big money.
Yeah.
So realistically, I've done real estate and and other things as more of the bread and butter.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, and you need those kinds of things. You need multiple strings to your bow, especially when you're in
You really
the creative
do.
industries.
Yeah.
You really do. Now, your fertility journey, though, is something that has, spanned many years, and also something that you've had, but also something that you're passionate about as well, because you've developed this level of understanding, you've educated yourself in it, and now you even said to me off camera that you've been educating others, like your friends.
Yes.
How to
Helping
get
a lot of people.
pregnant and all that
With
stuff. Talk
yeah.
us through from the beginning, if you can.
Well, I guess, I don't think I got my period till I was maybe 18 or something.
I was the same.
I was diagnosed with PCO. I was a runner. I was an athlete, and they put me on the pill, which is actually, now they're doing studies that it actually, in the long term, it can be beneficial in terms of having your chance of endometrial cancer and all kinds of things. But at the time, then when I went off to have a child, I had classic amenorrhea. I had no period. I'm like, what do I do? So that's when the whole sort of research thing started. And what can I take and what can I do to boost my fertility or my egg quantity or quality, all that kind of stuff.
Was this your first?
This was my first. And I think I ended up doing, getting it pregnant after it was Orgafol or some sort of injection. And then the second one, I think, was Clomid, which sort of boosts your estrogen. And then my third child ended up doing IVF.
Wow.
Okay.
And
were you naturally trying, obviously, between all of these things before you then decided to have the injections?
Yes. And then I had, I think my first IVF, was I 40 or something? I had like 20 good eggs. So I knew I had a good egg supply.
Yeah.
But that's part of it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then you realize how many layers there are. It has to, you have to have the perfect womb and the perfect this and the perfect that.
There's a lot of moving parts. Yeah.
But I feel like, I got lucky. But then after I got divorced years later and met my current husband, who has no children, who's quite a bit younger.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I'd love to give him the gift of a child.
Yeah.
And so that's when I feel like another fertility journey where I really started delving into it and learning as much as I can about IVF and all of that.
Yeah.
So, and then I think maybe 6 or 7 IVFs later, we had the twins.
6 or 7. Oh my gosh! Wow.
Because that's also like an expensive journey as well. Because
Expensive
IVF
journey.
can be extremely
And you did
expensive.
it here?
So I did. Well, we froze embryos, we froze eggs. Then we had a couple. I think a couple in the UK, a couple in New York, and I ovulated twice on the airplane.
Oh wow.
Because they gave me I think every protocol was different, and every doctor's different,
Yeah.
and that's why I said don't listen to just one doctor.
Yeah, I agree.
If you're striving to get pregnant, don't listen to just one person. Try a different clinic, try a different doctor, try a different protocol. Some were like, here, take half a Clomid and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And I ovulated on the plane. And sometimes they'll be like, here, they, injections. But for me, and then I think I did one in Connecticut. I brought some frozen embryos over. And so it's been a long journey. And then when it finally did work, I felt that it was just the right protocol.
Yeah.
That's all, but it was also the right mindset for me, because they said, you will have a baby. Relax. You will go home with a baby. Because I was like, what if? Yeah. What if? And so I thought, if I'd already had 3 or 4 operations to remove fibroids and polyps, because as you get older sometimes, if I took estrogen, I would create fibroids.
Wow.
And you can't implant if you've got a bunch of fibroids in your uterus. So after that, I was like, well, what if I do need a surrogate? You can't do that in the UK because I think they have a right to keep the child or something.
There's a lot of red tape, I think.
So some people go to California, some people go to Europe, like Spain or Ukraine or whatever. And so I thought, if that, I want to make sure that is an option if it comes to that. But once I think someone said to me, don't relax. We had took time off. We got married. We were in a really good space. We're like, oh, let's just give it one more try.
Yeah.
And the timing was great. But instead of saying, in the UK, they said, go home, have a drink, go out to lunch, take a pregnancy test in 2 weeks and let us know.
Yeah.
This was like, here you go. Here, take magnesium, B6. Put your feet up. Here's a bedpan. He like carried me to the
Was this in the
hotel
UK?
room. No, this was in the Ukraine.
Ukraine.
And then we
wow.
flew back, and they gave me this huge protocol. Continue with the estrogen. Continue with the progesterone, suppositories, injections, blah, blah, blah.
So
To
completely
convince
different
your
to
body,
anything.
completely different protocol from the
Convince
others.
your
The others are
body.
like, go on your way.
Just enjoy yourself. Yeah, relax. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think too, if you're just, if you say to yourself, oh, it's going to fail, what are the chances of success?
Yeah, sure.
And it worked. So I think some of it is, I have one friend going through it now, and some of it is coaching them about mindset as well,
course.
and also all the little things before the 2 weeks, during the 2 weeks, after the 2 weeks. It's
We've
very
come along
important.
so much with mindfulness as well over the last 10 years, especially through COVID, and people really
Understanding its impact.
it's
right?
Mental
Yeah.
Health Awareness Week as well at the moment. So it's one of those, well, it is when we're doing this podcast. It won't be when the podcast comes out, just FYI. But we just want to be, I feel like we're definitely honed in. We were speaking to a guest last week, and she said, people on social media now are a lot nicer than they used to be. And I think it's because people do listen.
We're also understanding the impact that being negative on social media can have on other people. Like before, you wouldn't see if you put a negative comment underneath a TV, to a TV show or to a TV boss that you were offended about something, or if you had a negative response, you wouldn't see how that would make someone feel. Whereas nowadays, because people put it on social media, how things impact them, people are a bit more mindful about what they say, because you wouldn't sat across from each other, I wouldn't say, oh, I hate this, or you wouldn't say, oh, I hate this, about, because that's just not how we behave as humans. But you give someone an iPad
they do
or a
it
phone,
online. Yeah.
they feel
They
protected.
think it's anonymous.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're going to be trolls. They're going to be
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that causes all the stresses in your life day to day when you're trying to conceive, or the little comments that people say in passing when you're trying to have a baby. And I find being on this parenting journey that we've been on doing the podcast, everybody we meet who've been struggling with pregnancy, they say pregnancy came along because we just relaxed into it.
Well, how often do you hear of someone, they decide to get a surrogate and then they get pregnant? They
Yeah.
decide to adopt and then they get pregnant.
Yeah.
All
the time.
Yeah.
So this system that they put you on in Ukraine is the one that worked, that
Yes,
had
yes.
all the different protocols and stuff like that. And then that was, which of your children was that?
The twins.
I'm lost.
The
The twins! The twins! The last one, the
My
last
little
hurrah.
miracle babies.
Can you
Wow.
believe? And when you found out you had twins,
Yeah, what was
What
that
was
day
that
like?
day?
I knew there was some chance, because you do when you've IVF.
There's a potential.
I said put 2 back just in case.
yeah.
But I always say I made a wish and 2 came true.
Oh, nice. That's
Love
cute.
that.
Yeah.
And how
So-
was the actual the process of being pregnant with twins comparatively to your previous pregnancies, or were they actually quite similar?
Similar up until a point. I mean, I love being pregnant. Some people don't like it.
Yeah,
They
me
think
too.
some
I loved it.
Jamie
aliens
enjoyed
taken
it,
over, but for me, I love the process of nurturing a child, and I get varicose veins. I also have a bleeding disorder where my blood doesn't clot. It's a platelet disorder. Clot is readily. So the problem is when I got up to about 30 weeks, I could get out of bed and lose a liter of blood because I had placenta previa
Oh, see.
as well. So I couldn't exercise. I couldn't. So my daughter had to, get me to the
Help,
hospital
basically, yeah.
as soon as possible to see if we could stop the bleeding, because we wanted to go as far as we could.
Sure, of course.
So I was, in and out of hospital several times. And then I think the last time they were 6 weeks early. So
Okay, that's not too bad.
which is
though.
we got far. We got
Yeah.
far.
Yes.
But luckily I'm not far from the hospital.
Yeah, of course.
So, and I remember, yes, I
you're
remember
in
my
Central,
husband
aren't
had
you?
like he was all dressed up. He was with the boys at sort of fight night or something. I can't remember what arena in the hospital calls. Your wife's in hospital. He's like, okay.
I'm on my way.
And it was his first as well, eh?
I think it was like 2 days later they actually came, but
Okay, so you had
we had a lot of sort of mini emergencies, but
Okay.
but
see.
But they're healthy.
but they were so healthy. They were tiny,
Okay.
but healthy. But I think because they knew of my condition, I had a team of hematologists, and they gave an injection to help with the lungs and that kind of thing. So even though they were tiny, they did need incubation, and we could take them home.
Did you do Chelsea and Westminster?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what was one of our favourites. His
let's not go there. Let's
Can I say?
skim over that one.
His ex-girlfriend is a midwife at Chelsea Westminster. So we didn't choose that one, but we chose Paddington because that was the next best thing. I was like, that'd be weird. I don't want to see my vagina. That's really strange.
Yes. No, you lose all modesty when you're a
Yeah,
child,
of
don't you?
course.
You're like,
Wow.
sure,
And-
have a
and
look.
How old are the twins now?
They're 4.
4. Okay, so
Yeah.
how is it having the
Oh my-
two
they're-
4-year-olds running around?
They are so cheeky and so wonderful. Yeah, they're definitely full of character. But it's wonderful. Terrible 2s and 3s are not always wonderful, but
Sure.
once you get past that, it's sort of like, wow. For me, it's sort of the magical period from 4 to 6 or 4 to 8.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We're
what I
yet
was
to get
saying.
there.
I
We
know.
have
People
this
are like, is 2 worse or is 3 worse? And everyone's saying 3.
Oh, great.
brace
We're on
yourself.
our way
Brace
to 3.
yourselves.
Oh, dear. Well, so we have this recurring segment on this podcast, which is What's New with Rocket. So we talk about, typically me and Jamie will talk about what's new with him in terms of what milestones has he hit, or like, is there anything new that he's doing this week, or any, cheeky things that he's done, or funny stories. So is there anything new or any milestones that the twins have hit in the recent weeks?
They're just so chatty now. And
so,
they
like,
come
verbally.
They come up with these words, even even words when they go to the toilet.
Okay.
And he's like, it's enormous. I was like, where'd you learn that word?
That's so funny.
Oh my God, some of the stuff, and they just chat with each other now. And I think now I'm sort of reaping the benefits of having the twins,
Sure.
because
They
it's
entertain each
so
other,
much
right?
work. It was crazy. We had to set our alarm every 3 hours and feed them. This was probably 10 months.
Wow.
A boy and girl?
Boy, girl.
Wow.
So it was like pass the parcel, and it was breast, and then breast milk in a bottle because my daughter didn't feed as well because her mouth was so little, and then formula in the bottle because we had to fatten them up. So
Yeah.
24 bottles a day
Oh.
for months on end, but they were COVID babies. So I had my husband home. So we had no maternity nurse, no nanny.
No
We're like,
need,
let's
yeah.
just get on with it.
Yeah.
Nice.
parcel.
Yeah, it's a fucking
Yeah.
parcel.
And I remember one time, he lifted the legs and it was projectile.
Oh my God. Have you had that? No, we didn't have that.
We haven't had that. You know what?
Luckily,
Funnily enough,
touch wood.
touch wood, yeah, we haven't had any poo explosions aimed at us. Obviously,
is
we've had
mad.
explosive nappies regularly, but funnily enough, it happened to my mum.
Yeah.
with
Did it?
Rocket. Yeah, in the bath. Luckily, so actually, funnily enough, it's
I think Adrian jumped out of the way, and most of it landed near the dog, and the dog sort of went "Ooh," and ran out the door.
thank God you said that. I thought you were going to say he ate it.
Oh no!
Oh my gosh.
Wow, that's
yeah.
great. So this whole journey of you, having this fertility journey, like up to
Yeah.
this point, and now you've got 5 amazing kids, you have a set of twins.
Yeah.
This has also guided your understanding and helped your learning with longevity in life as well,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
almost becoming a biohacker. And how did that come about? And how did you learn about it?
Well, I think because I had twins in my 50s, I didn't realize how sort of extraordinary that is. And I was like, wow, I thought, I'm sort of curious. I've been following biohackers a bit, and I recently went on a biohacking retreat.
Wow.
And
Didn't even know they
some of the
existed.
stuff, if you want to meet some, interesting people, go.
Super nerds.
There were a lot of
Great.
people a lot of guys from Finland, and it was all about upgrading your coffee and biohacking techniques. And I was listening to this and saying, well, gosh, they were teaching us about mushrooms and different things. And I was saying, well, I've been taking that for 20 years. I've been taking that for 15 years. I've been taking that so there was no term for it that I knew of, but I've been doing that most of my life anyway
Yeah.
to improve the quality and quantity of my eggs and
Of course, yeah.
and prolong my fertility journey.
Yeah, of course.
And so a lot of that contributes to my longevity.
Got you.
So now when I dug a little deeper, I was like, wow, maybe I'll do an epigenetic test. So I've taken 4 epigenetic tests, which look at your biological clock versus your chronological clock. And all of them have come up that I am 10 to 18 years younger biologically than I am chronologically.
Wow. So when did you start?
So this
biohacking?
was just recently.
Really?
I started taking the tests, just over a year ago.
Oh, wow.
And so they look at things like one looks at your glycan composition, which measures your chronic inflammation. Another looks at your methylation on your DNA. And some of these are from spit, some of these are blood tests, and they look at different biomarkers. I just thought that was interesting. So now I'm in exploring my sort of epigenetic journey. And what I would like to do is also help women, especially in midlife, to optimize their bodies and optimize their life to sort of be the best version of themselves and create the life of their dreams, and what are your goals? If it is fertility, let's focus on that. If it's other things, but obviously promoting health and well-being, fitness and well-being, but also biohacking techniques, lifestyle tips, and how you can incorporate that into your life. Yeah. So, we're not sent out to pasture in midlife. Yeah. The best is yet to come.
Yes.
Well, I noticed, like, my mum is 63, 64.
Oh, 66, slightly older than my dad. Am I not right in saying that?
Maybe. 1958 she's born. But anyway, she's in a generation where it wasn't like they had Jane Fonda. Like, that's how they exercised, and they didn't really learn about it. And now Ozempic's come out. She's like, oh, great, I'm going to get that and inject myself. Now, she's got diabetes too, so technically she's allowed to have it. But she started fasting, and now she's coming out as not having diabetes too. And then she wanted to do Ozempic. But I said, Mum, just work out.
Yeah, I think everyone kind of wants a shortcut.
They want a shortcut.
So, yeah.
They don't want to go ahead and
we don't know the long-term implications of Ozempic.
Yeah, because it's new.
Yeah.
Right?
So
we have to be careful.
Stick to fitness if you can.
It is hard though.
Yeah.
If something is promoted as like a shortcut and it works, and all these people that you follow on social media or celebrities are endorsing it, it's very difficult to talk someone out of doing it, because they're like, why would I do the 2-hour workout a day for the next 3 years rather than just take the injection? Like, I get it, but also, we don't know the long-term implications. There could be negative side effects, and there's already people saying that it can give you halitosis, it can affect your gut really badly. Yeah. So would you say
that the gut biome is very important?
Exactly.
There's no shortcut.
Yeah, I know it's the hard thing to have to tell people, but there is no shortcut.
It's a whatever pronged approach. You have to obviously look at your nutrition and look at your fitness and look at your routine and your habits and all of the above. And if you look at Dan Butner, I can remember all of those longevity sort of experts who looks at blue zones. It's a combination of factors, and even having meaningful relationships has a huge impact on your longevity. So it's not just body optimization, like biohackers say. It's a combination of factors to have the most, improve your life and have the most. We all want to have a long life, but you want a healthy life.
I mean, we spoke a little bit off camera before this episode that there's that guy, the biohacker, who's become very famous on cross social media because he goes as far to inject his own son's blood into his system to try and stay young, and he spends millions of dollars a year on his nutrition, on supplements. His son agreed to do it, he agreed to do it for his dad, and then his son,
$2 million a year.
His son said he spends $2 million a year trying to keep his biological age as young as possible.
Drinks green juice and a test tube. And
so now how far, that's obviously the very end of it, but as far as your opinion goes, where should people sit like in that kind of range?
Well, obviously you have the extremes. Yeah. And I think was it Dalai Lama said man spends his whole life trying to he wastes his health trying to make money, and then he spends his money trying to regain his health. Yeah. Something like that. I can't remember the exact quote. But so I think a lot of guys, you can take it to the extreme and drink your food out of test tubes and get 1 million tests a day and stool tests and all that. That's an extreme. I'm proof that you can still live a fun life. Yeah. and
with balance.
I am no saint. I love a glass of wine. I love a good boogie. Nice. I have a great life.
Balance, isn't it?
A great love with my Australian husband. So it's about balance. Yeah. And I think if if it's going to restrict you, if you're going to be unhappy abstaining from that glass of red wine, I think that's probably outweighs the actual
Reason why
negative
you're doing it.
consequences of drinking it. In
the
fact,
wine,
there
yeah.
are some benefits to red wine as well.
Yes.
Because of the resveratrol and the other things. So, and you want to remove the stress. So if you look at the blue zones, some of them drink plenty of wine. It's lack of stress. It's good nutrition. It's
Environment.
feeding your body. It's moving. It's having meaningful relationships, a sense of community. It's a combination of things.
Sure.
Yes, I do punish myself a bit at the gym. And it is, a bit of vanity there.
Sure.
I still try and have enough time to recover and enjoy life. So I think you can still be a badass mom and have the best of all worlds.
Yeah. And
You
you're
know?
proof of that with the twins, which
Yeah.
is incredible. So with biohacking, if somebody wanted to start changing their life today from listening to this podcast, what would you say was like the first steps to doing that they could start at any time?
The easiest is nutrition and gym, you know, because a lot of people are skinny, but they also have visceral fat. You want to reduce your visceral fat. So
That's the fat around the organs. Am I right in saying that?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just looked my weight. I didn't even try, but I just had my stats at my gym, and my weight is exactly the same as it was over 2 years ago, to the 0.00. But my visceral fat has come way down,
Okay.
Right.
and that's a good goal.
Yes.
You know, so there are different kinds of fats. There's different kinds of cholesterol. There's different kind of, so you can get, your blood tests or hormones checked or whatever, but you can break it down into simple things if you can. But certainly exercise, movement, nutrition,
Drinking water?
what you eat.
Yeah, drinking water, Jamie.
But also it changes as you get older.
Yeah.
As you get older,
Okay.
especially for women, fiber is incredibly important. Protein's also important. Weightlifting's important. And some of the things you might overlook when you're younger.
Yeah.
Because you're so worried about looking thin and dieting that you don't focus so much on
muscle.
what your body needs. And so the skeletal muscle is also extremely important as you age. And people might not realize that.
Yeah, there's one thing that I noticed. I'm like really into my collagen at the moment, and I have read somewhere that your body can only take in a certain amount of collagen. So there's no point taking in too much because your body's not going to absorb it. And I was like, what? Oh, there's something to do with everything.
Well, that's true with vitamins too. You're just going to have expensive pee.
Yeah, it's literally just like, because you quoted Dalian earlier, I was going to say, I'll quote Oscar Wilde, where he says, everything in moderation, including moderation.
Moderation.
So if you want to
You
go
said that
out,
one
you want to party.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that quote because it just reminds, everyone that balance is key, but also you can go off the rails every now and then bring it back. Like it's not, you're not tied down.
Well, you've realized there are different types of collagen too. You can get collagen that's bovine or from fish or from different types. So you could try a combination. You could try a liquid form or a powder form. I figure it's not going to hurt. A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And a lot of these ingredients, yes, I've been aware of for so many years. And now they're like, oh, it's it's going to
Yeah.
save the world. I would love to do a longevity supplement for women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At some point, because I have the list of ingredients, and but you don't have to take everything every day. You know what I
Sure.
mean? It's the same with food. They look at what you consume over a few days. They look at so if you miss a day or two, or so
Alison said something actually on the last episode. She was talking about folic acid and how it's impacting the children. Was it the children's digestive
Yeah,
system
exactly.
after
Yeah,
they're
folic
born?
acid can
Because
impact
of
the
like
children's digestive
reflux,
Acid reflux.
acid reflux. Yeah. So
is this too much of it?
So yeah,
in the
apparently
Well,
what
women being told that they should take folic acid is affecting the children's stomach acid.
Okay, yeah, because you don't want spina bifida and other implications if you don't take
yeah.
don't take it. So then people go overboard and take too much,
Yeah.
and then well it's interesting how much impact we have on our unborn child.
Yeah.
They absorb everything you put in your
And
body,
it's
right?
incredible. And now there's a study that says that the fetal DNA of your unborn child, stays in the mother's body up to 27 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I've got a lot of fetal DNA in my body. And that DNA has healing properties that can migrate to organs that are injured. If I have a thyroid problem or a liver problem, that fetal DNA
We'll go there and fight it.
Yes.
It's almost acting like a stem cell.
So
like, it kind
no,
of, that's
these
what it sounds
these
like,
are
yeah.
fetal stem cells.
Okay,
some
so
are
are.
stem cells.
Okay.
And so actually I stored the stem cells of the twins.
Yeah, so did we.
did
We did it for
Rocket.
Rocket as well.
We
Yeah.
did, but
So
we don't know what
this-
to do with them.
I
just there.
know, because you're like, well, yeah, maybe we can get
like if you
them
really
years
need
later and
Put them in my
Yeah.
back.
put them in a cream or something.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So true.
but luckily, hopefully, we won't have to use them. I
Yes,
just mean if our
exactly.
children get
Yeah.
sick,
Yeah,
then it's good to
exactly.
have.
It's for them, exactly. It's primarily for them. And
But
then,
there's all kind of new research coming out, also linking, fertility. Because if you look at longevity for men, it's just a linear progression.
Yeah.
If you look at women, it's right in sync
Yeah.
until menopause, and then it goes way up
okay.
and then over.
Wow.
So the ovaries are the fastest aging organ in the body. They die first.
Yeah.
And as soon as that happens,
They die first.
aging process goes skyrocket.
It has like a knock-on effect.
Skyrocket for women.
Yeah.
So if we can delay it, like they have if I delayed it like I have in my case, that will improve and the later you have children too, they've proven you have a much increased lifespan as well.
Interesting.
So if we can delay, I'm sure they're working on it somewhere in this world, but if you can delay menopause or even make it optional, then it'll increase your quality of life and longevity.
Because you've got women having menopause now at like early 30s.
Oh, yeah.
And it's incredible. And is it to do with diet? But then you do have some people like what is the known latest menopause somebody's had? Do we know?
Probably me.
Hey, nice. I like that. Claim to fame. I love that.
Yeah, probably me.
But some of it's genetic. I think my mother had a miscarriage when she was 46 or 7 or something. So she was very late, and she had a late period as well.
Yeah.
And so some of it's genetic, but some of it's stress related, environment related.
Yeah.
Some people are so stressed that they go in menopause much earlier. So yeah, combination of factors.
And and I think my mum's still in menopause. She's been for the last 25 years. No, I'm serious.
I always say I'm still in my midlife crisis. My whole life is a midlife crisis.
Exactly. Nice. Oh my God, Laura, it's been absolutely brilliant having you here on the podcast. We've had so much fun. We learned a lot as well. We like that.
Yeah.
We like having podcast episodes with guests where we learn a lot. And also, not enough people are talking about how to, maintain or, promote longevity in your life. Biohacking, using nutrition, gym. There's so many more elements to it nowadays.
Yeah.
So many things coming out. I'm learning now about lion's mane and how it's helping the brain.
Well, I've been taking
food.
mushrooms for over 20
I
years.
know you said as
And
well.
I
What mushrooms have you been
I take
taking?
certain ones at certain times of day.
Ah,
see,
do you?
that's the thing that we need to learn.
Yeah.
So you-
Cordyceps helps fertility. I'll do that on a gym day.
Wow.
Lion's mane in the morning helps your concentration.
Yeah.
Reishi for de-stressing, for relaxing. More at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any brands that you would recommend?
Well, I've used Dirty. I've used like all the different
Yeah, we've
ones.
used Dirty
So-
before.
Yeah,
It's all good.
they've got the best concentration percentage out of all of them when I've done my research for it. We're on ashwagandha as well.
It's all good. And there's so many things that women can take versus men in terms of to help fertility or to help with the biohacking.
And
So,
you wrote a book about that. Did you write a book about
I'm
this?
writing a book.
Writing a book
Writing a
about
book.
this.
Tell us, give us the exclusive right here.
It's called Laura's Comfort Zone.
Nice.
Wow.
Okay, Laura's comfort zone.
I think it'll be about stepping out of your comfort zone and, pushing the boundaries and optimizing your body and your life to sort of create the life of your dreams. And so it'll be a combination of sort of memoir and lifestyle tips and realizations and
Amazing.
My journey.
Have you started writing it?
Yep, I started writing it.
Do we have a launch date?
Yeah, do you have a rough idea?
a
Oh, not yet.
Okay.
Not
Soon.
yet.
Keep us in the loop so that we can let our listeners
Yeah, and
know.
then come back on and we can actually present it. That would be really, really
Fantastic.
cool.
I look forward to it.
And are you? Shall we announce what you're going to be also doing?
Yes.
Do you want to talk about it? Okay.
Well, podcast coming.
Podcast coming.
Also,
podcast
Laura's comfort zone.
Laura's comfort zone.
So that will be really nice in alignment with your book. It will kind of like set the book up quite nicely.
Yes, exactly.
And are you going to have guests on?
I would like to have, some of the top pioneers in biohacking in all the different areas. Wow. So I've got a nice list. I'm very excited.
List of people. And do we have a date in line when we're going to be starting this journey with the podcast?
Well, let's see. I think I need a couple months to do some recording.
Yeah.
So watch this space.
Watch this space,
Watch this
guys.
space.
But we'll announce it when she does come out with it. We'll put it on all the socials.
We will indeed.
Where can people find you?
Well, I'm on Instagram, Laura_comfort, and I'm sort of everywhere else. But
I'm everywhere. You'll find me.
Laura_comfort. You got to hear first. You've heard it here first. Go get the book.
Yes.
Go listen to the podcast when it's out. We'll put all the links below. I will update the links when it does launch.
Yeah.
But thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on the
pleasure.
Than
Thank you so
podcast.
much for having me. It was great fun.
Awesome. See you soon.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Shh.